Hi, this is Jenny Vowell, and I am going to review my case study with you. And this is for Calhoun City Schools, and I've titled my presentation, Can Education Be Fixed? And by education, I mean at Calhoun City Schools. Let me give you a bit of background. Calhoun City Schools is located in Gordon County, Georgia. It's a small independent school system comprised of four schools and preschool. Currently, there's 4,200 students. In 2016, the graduation rate was 96.8%. It is a designated as a Georgia charter school system, and in 2016, the school was named the Charter School System of the Year. The system has a long legacy of high performance and student success, and each faculty and staff member is committed to education. Now, there is a shift in the population. Over the past 10 years, Gordon County experienced an influx of Hispanic people. The current the current population is comprised of Hispanic students at 35%, Black students at 6%, white students at 52%, and the rest of the population self-identifies as multiracial, Asian, or Native American. The current free and reduced lunch rate is at 60%, and every school is a Title I school. And by the year 2020, Calhoun City Schools expects to be serving more than, well, that says 5,000 students. There are 4,000 students. Um, that was taken from a 2015 projection. The most recent update on that is 5,000 students. So in 2 years, they're expecting to have 800 more students. All right, just a little clarification on that. Now, jumping into the cultural norms. Here's what's going on in the 2016-2017 school year. The district level leadership team realized the need to increase access to technology for all faculty, staff, and students. The district also realized that the technology committee was not meeting on a regular basis. So, in an effort to shore up the level of technology infusion throughout the school system, the technology committee began revamping the technology plan. Uh, the latest technology plan before our new one that was in 2017 was from 2009. So there has been quite a bit of time when there was no technology plan. So we've been revamping that. We are also mindful of the need to leverage technology to meet the needs of all learners, including our English as a second language learners and our special education population. Now, here's what is most important as far as a measurement that let us know we were in a little bit of trouble. In 2016, the CCRPI data revealed significant dip in student performance, especially in the literacy. And this was across the board in all grade levels. Literacy was very low. Math was low as well, but literacy was consistent through the school system. So, this led leadership to be very concerned because it had us thinking that our teachers are not fully equipped to instruct students in this specific subgroup. Therefore, a laser-like focus targeting instructional practices is the focus of the school system improvement plan. The data and information gleaned from all of these school improvement initiatives um, were analyzed and part of the technology planning. All right. Now, our instructional practices. All we know we were in a little bit of trouble, so we decided to really focus in on this. Okay. So, first of all, we had to understand where are we at? Where are our teachers at? We have a hunch that they're not real sure in their technology infusion, but we didn't know for sure. So, we commenced the digital age profile. And every teacher, that's 204 teachers in grades pre-K through 12, took the assessment, okay? And that was 204 teachers. Our we have data for teacher level, school level, and then system level. And I'm going to be discussing system level data right now. As a school system, our teachers are operating at the exploration level, which is level 2 out of 6 on the Teaching Innovation Framework, which is our LOTI. A score at this level indicates that instructional practices are not student centered and technology is used to support mastery learning. However, instructional focus is on the lower levels of cognitive processing. Technology is used in the classroom, but it is used for supplemental teaching as a productivity tool for remediation or for enrichment activities. Okay, so we know our loading level was at a level 2, which is called exploration. So, that kind of goes along with our hunch that maybe teachers are a little bit unprepared. Secondly, the instructional practices, which is the current instructional practices, scored a level 3 out of 6. This level 3 indicates the primary instructional delivery method in the classroom is teacher directed. In addition, teachers limit differentiation by offering sequential and uniform learning activities for all students, teacher-directed presentation, and the use of traditional evaluation techniques. So there we have it. That was the data that let us know that our teachers weren't quite prepared to help our students in the greatest need. Because of that need, we have developed the communities of practice. The goal is for the faculty and staff to participate in high quality professional learning that includes hands-on practice with experts to guide the development of lesson planning and technology infusion. The COPs will foster authentic feedback and discussion regarding instructional practices. They will serve as a safe place to try out new ideas for instructional strategies that are student centered and include technology. Papa wrote, communities of practice must provide a supportive environment where there is an openness and appreciation for new and unique ideas. So we're very excited about this. Now, the next thing that we did, well, let me jump back here. The next thing that I want to talk to you about is that, in order to help the teachers understand how important this is for our student success, we are having each teacher choose one technology goal that will be addressed in their TEKS. Okay, and then from the various technology goals that they can pick, and the system is still working on what those will be. Some will be more advanced than others, but anyway, that is how the COPs will be designed. So the groups will be homogeneous, and they will have levels of high leader learners and levels of low learners. Um, However, everybody in that group will be focused on the same technology goal. So we will be using teachers who are already leaders, and who do infuse technology into the classroom to help guide the ones that are not. The whole idea is that it's a safe environment to learn and to practice. We want the teachers to know that this is a good idea and that we're going to move away from learning about technology and learning with and through technology, as Papa says. So, and also a district leadership member will be in every community of practice. Okay, so that's how our community practice is going to work. And now we're going ubiquitous access to technology. Now, here's what we learned. As part of the school improvement process, uh, we decided to participate in a full peer review with the Consortium for School Networks, and we needed a cohesive plan. We found that there was not ubiquitous access to technology, nor access to a robust Wi-Fi. It was apparent that each school had special technology projects and even tools, but there was not a cohesive system-wide technology plan. Neither were the national standards considered when purchasing technology. There was none of that. All right, so the leadership team wants to create an environment that is equitable to all users, and we committed to the COSIN process. And I will say this, if you ever have an opportunity to have COSIN come and your school system commit to the full peer review process, encourage it. Um, I had never done this before. Of course, I had learned about it through Dr. Wright's class last summer, but it was really, really practice changing for me. Oh, I got to meet with experts from around the whole United States. They were highly qualified, and everyone from the chief officers down to our parapros were interviewed. There was a representation for everyone. And then, of course, before they come, they ask for quite a bit of data, like um, of course, our testing data, and then our inventory and current structure and our SACs, all that kind of stuff, all those things they need. But here's the best part. The cost for the peer review process was very low um, in comparison to what a large corporation would do. So I would definitely, it's a good way to spend money. But here's the best part. Let me have you think about when you're going through a SACS review, and we all know it happens, but in a SACS review, we really put on the horse and pony show. Everything is shiny and bright, and we do talk about our weaknesses, but we really downplay them. In here, in a COSIN review, they need to know about your weaknesses. In fact, that's what it's about. So you just walk in there, you speak honestly and authentically. They give you feedback, they ask you probing, hard questions that get you to think, and then you come away thinking, okay, here's where we can start. And then, of course, they will give you recommendations and a plan and all of those things so that you will have really good data. um, Papa says a lot of times we have great tools, but we don't know if they're being used, if they're in a corner. So this does all of that for you. Now, let me talk about this part right here. I'm going to camp out right here. Again, I want to restate that you should do the COSIN review. Just do it. For us, it was 2 days because, we're not a large school system. For large school systems, it may be more. There's no risk. There's no risk in losing accreditation. There's no risk in, having your name splashed all over the newspaper because it's kept private. The recommendations are reviewed prior to publication, prior to them becoming public record. So there is no risk involved. And it is a complete, full analysis of everything, of your budgeting, of your technology equipment, of your networking, of your student performance, of your teacher performance, of your teacher understanding, what's all going into that. Great, great process. They gave us 49 recommendations, and we're a small school system. So you can imagine how much data that gave us. Of course, we can't jump on all 49 at one time. So again, we had to set priorities. The first one that we are looking toward is to align our bandwidth with the SETTA recommendations and to really be able to facilitate a one-to-one initiative. The technology leadership team is going to work to create a guest network so that and establish access to Wi-Fi and technology that will be ubiquitous and equitable for everyone. And so that's where we're at with that. We started with those two major things, and we are also going to begin a BYOD. We're going to look at our policies and bring that in because so many kids have some really great technology at home that they want to bring into school, that like robots and great apps and their iPads and their books and all those their ebooks and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to make a way for that bandwidth to happen. So we're really glad about that. Okay, now how do we combat the problem that we're having? Let me just talk to you real quick about our alignment between our district improvement goals and technology. Okay. The improvement plan states we are going to increase integration of technology into daily instruction, continually evaluate and assess teacher and student utilization. That's a good thing. That's our starting point. We want to do that. Objective 7 of the plan, of the school improvement plan, states monitor technology integration in the classroom and document within teacher evaluation procedures. Okay, check off that box. We're continuing to do that. Now, our SACS review, also our external review team, and their report said there's a strong digital learning environment within Calhoun City Schools. The governor's Office of Student Achievement graded the school system as a C. And after examining the Calhoun City Schools Continuous Improvement Plan and the SACS Advanced Ed Report, and you compare the two, there is a disconnect between technology, instruction, and performance. The expectation that a school system will be high performing in each area of operations is unrealistic. However, the gap that exists between technology, student, and teacher performance is rather dramatic at this point. So, how do we combat this? Well, this is a really great because Rosen and Beckhill said that many schools are challenged by creating lessons that are engaging, authentic, and personalized learning experiences. And certainly we are seeing that as the LODI scores and the CIP scores. So the question is, how is student progress being monitored? Is there ongoing formative assessments that inform lesson planning that include differentiation? The low scores in literacy across the school system seem to indicate that progress monitoring needs consistency for the whole system. So, what can be done to eliminate this disconnect? Well, Michael Fullan in 2006 suggests that engaging the practice of lateral capacity building is a strategic method to develop system thinkers in action. The system thinker is very intentional in their work in their own school and in their own district. At the same time, connects with other people in school or districts and begins to build the other person's lateral capacity. The idea is for the system thinker to leave behind other system thinkers who can go even further. The key idea in building capacity in others is peer to peer learning. People are more likely to develop skills necessary to create lessons that are student centered and technology infused if there is sufficient opportunity for ongoing personal purposeful exchange and the system is designated to foster, develop, and disseminate innovative practices that work. So that's where we're at the end of case study part one. We're developing the system thinkers through using our COP and our measurements of uh, the digital age assessment. All right, so now let's move on. We were forecasting our communities of practice and all those things that come into place, and the teacher's ability to innovate learning experiences and foster learning environment that is student centered and encourages creativity, problem solving, and innovation. Well, now we look at an overview of our strengths and weaknesses. For part two of the case study, I collected tons and tons of data. Each one of those little pieces shake down to Calhoun City Schools. The CLIP stands for the Continuous Local Education Improvement Plan. Of course, our tech plan. Of course, our LODI data, which is our digital age assessment, our COSIN, our advanced data, and of course, all of our ISTE alignments. So we're going to review those. Um, all of how each of those align to the essential conditions that are necessary. So here we go. The assistee essential conditions. Number one, we have a shared vision, and here's what's going on with this. The shared vision. Um, there's a partnership between the school system and the industry, and we have created the Calhoun Career Academy, the Calhoun Online Academy, and the Calhoun STEMworks. These facilities were developed to meet the need of local manufacturing industry as well as the need for a competent technological workforce. Students that enrolled in any of these CTAE or STEM courses benefited from learning environment that is rich in real world technology driven instruction. However, if the students were not enrolled in these specific education pathways, there was limited exposure to technology enhanced instruction. A consensus or a consistency does not exist between the core academic areas and your CTAE STEM courses. School system leadership has not fully established nor articulated a comprehensive plan to support technology infusion into all parts of teaching and learning. Certainly, some instructional areas of the school system have access to advanced technology. However, technology supported instruction and access to technology are not consistent from preschool to 12th grade. The status is evidenced by the COSIN recommendation that states develop a comprehensive technology plan with stakeholder input that aligns the district vision in both instruction, vision, goals of the school system, and meets the needs of students, staff, and community. So, this feedback lets us really know that we have work to do. However, we are united as a district leadership and as a district that we have the shared vision of technology infused instruction and equal access to digital resources for all students is a top priority in the school system improvement plan. All right, and now access. The technology plan is intended to ensure that all faculty, staff, and students have access to technology while on or off campus. The technology plan states that Wi-Fi will be ubiquitous with bandwidth that meets the SETA national standards. And lastly, there will be a complete guest network that will allow access to a wireless network without compromising the security of school data and student information. So this will be put into place immediately. All right, the digital age assessment completed by 204 educators let us know that there is a disconnect um, between what the teachers say they're doing and what is actually occurring. It was very interesting to note that when I presented this information to one assistant principal, the assistant principal reported that teachers are glossing over opportunities to make authentic learning connections. They are not taking the time to discuss the complex topics in detail, nor are they asking students to respond with complex answers to questions. Most of the communicating is done by the class all at one time. I don't see individual or small group conferences. So that is a very good starting point for our access and how we can use technology to help those things happen. Of course, when we are also going to be implementing our communities of practice, and we want the teachers to be able to recognize technology infused instruction, engaged learning, students making authentic connections, and how to implement these vital elements into daily instructions. And that sentence right there comes from the digital leader, Eric Schiniger, and he has a great book if you have time to read it. The communities of practice will be job embedded. That means they're not going to take place on weekends or any of that kind of stuff. It'll be job embedded, and we will measure it through our TEKS evaluation. But more than that, we really want the teachers to know that this is the place where you're going to learn, where you're going to try stuff out, where you're going to bounce it off your other folks, your other teachers who may or may not be in the same um, subject area or grade level as you, but they're in your same position. They're seeking the same thing you are. So it makes a real good community. And we will have our district leaders involved in the community of practice as well. And we want to model good professional learning. Okay. Now, next you talk about content standards. The low literacy test scores in the content areas of reading and English on the Georgia milestones really got the attention of our RTI team. And they determined that the teachers are mostly using the teacher-centered approach. Now, I do want to back up a little bit and say that a prescribed or a prescriptive phonics English language arts and writing program was implemented in 2016-2017. That is going to be expanded in 2017-18, and they are also adding a prescriptive math um, as well. So we need to keep that in mind. However, they realize that differentiation is not occurring, that we have a whole bunch of different little parts of little programs they can use, like English in a Flash or IXL, and they are using those, but um, we're not seeing good progress monitoring um, across the board. So the teachers are feeling that they don't have enough time to remediate and that they're doing the best they can. So there has been a complete audit of pacing guides, lesson plan scheduling, and curriculum. They're being closely evaluated by the principals and the curriculum directors, and they're going to be using the plan do check method of school improvement. And we are looking specifically at tier one interventions, where everyone meets, and then also some of our tier two interventions. So um, really it's going to be focusing on our ESOL students. Um, Surprisingly, our special populations, our special ed population, is doing much better in academic performance than our students who are ESOL designated. So we are looking at the practices. What can our ESOL teachers learn from our special education teachers that will help them, help the students in a more effective manner? All right, now direct instruction. We're talking about that as well. We do not want learning to be limited by time and space, especially at the upper grade levels, starting in around sixth grade and all, of course, all the way up to your senior high. Um, we don't want anybody to be limited to learning. So we want to make sure that there is a digital environment where students are not limited. The access to learning occurs wherever there is an internet connection. And we also want it to be student focused. So we're going to include training on Google Hangouts, how to make connections with people outside the school building, like professors or pen pals or however it is you want to do it. We also want to meet those national standards. So that is going to be very important for our direct instruction. And of course, our COPs will play a really important part because we'll be able to go back and see, okay, well, they did this in our COP and here's how it turned out. So there will always be that plan, do, check, act, and helping the teacher reflect. We're going to give them time to reflect, okay? Now, our assessment. Okay, we're not going to wait on just one or two assessments this year, in the upcoming year, nor are we going to be um, just doing assessments for the lower grades and not for the higher grades. So what we have implemented for the 2018 school year or 2017-18 school year is the NWEA MAPS assessment. Every student in the first 2 weeks of school will take an assessment. From that data, we will personalize the lessons as much as possible, and then work with that data. And we're going to try to meet each student where they're at in a personalized area, and focus on their parts that need remediation and build from the beginning. Find out where their weaknesses are, find out what areas they have not mastered, and focus on those. So that means that our learning in the classroom at Tier 1 will be flexible learning groups, it will be differentiated, and it will require a whole lot more planning. So that is where we're going to be using the MAPS assessment. We're very excited about having that tool to figure out what's missing, to progress monitor, and to assess again. All right, so our technical assistance. Well, we talked about the COSIN 49 recommendations. The cabinet members and the directors have been assigned certain portions to research and to formulate the phases needed to implement the action plan elements. The system technology team is working very closely with directors or cabinet members to coordinate the completion of the action plan. Some of the plans will require finding vendors or funding collaboration or um, working with all those and bringing that information together. The district leadership is looking forward to building an infrastructure that will enable learning to take place synchronously and asynchronously via a robust wireless network which supports emerging technologies that mimic the future world of work that our students will encounter when they enter the workforce. Now, support policies. Recognizing that faculty and staff need time to reflect on data and all the sources of feedback they receive, the school system calendar now includes flexible days that allow faculty and staff to leverage opportunities for professional development, curriculum planning, and digesting the feedback. And of course, by digesting the feedback, we mean reflection. The flexible time allows the school leaders to work with a grade level or department level to maximize the 190 days of faculty and staff are available. This is really innovative practice because we don't have to wait for pre-planning, the one day in January and then the 5 days at the end. So we are really been have very fortunate to be able to have the flexible flex days and scheduling, and that is part of being a charter school system. It allows that. One of the things that we're also working on is Calhoun City Schools is partnered with the Georgia Department of Education and is participating in the Fund 150 pilot program. Now, the pilot program diverges from the traditional funding method of only using particular funding sources for particular programs, thereby allowing the school district flexibility in spending and planning innovative instruction. The Fund 150 program eliminates the different pots of money for such things as professional development, purchasing instructional materials, and procurement of technology. Instead, the funding process is cohesive and allows the schools freedom to allocate funds in innovative instructional practices and acquire emerging technologies. The pilot program is effective, and Calhoun City Schools will continue into the second phase of the pilot program next school year. It's been wonderful. All right, so our conclusion. Let me move on to here. Um, okay, now I want to talk to you before we conclude with some of the things that we have found to be that we're going to be addressing. Number one, we're unbalanced. Our student performance is not meeting with our teaching and learning. We're working really hard, but our student performance is low. Okay, so going forward, we're going to be using SETA. We're going to be using our COPS, which is our communities of practice. We're going to measure progress, that's student and teacher progress. We're going to make technology and learning available 24/7, 365. We are going to have consistent instruction and use the plan, do, check, act method. And then forecasting. We're going to align instruction and technology. Do they have what they need to do what they need to do? We're going to eliminate barriers to high quality instruction. We're going to be having job embedded personalized professional development, and we'll use model classrooms. So our teachers that are really hitting it will be able to help those along who need the help. Especially think about it as first year teachers or teachers who just want to learn more. Also in forecasting, we will have ubiquitous access. We will continue the cost of the peer review process. We will use school improvement of Plan, Do, Check, Act, and we will continue our digital age assessment. All right. So that is where we're at right now, where we're forecasting. So I want to tell you thanks. I know this went long. It was 30 minutes. Oh, I didn't know I had that much to say. Uh, but thank you. I appreciate all your feedback. And if you care to, those are the references that I've used. Thanks so much. Have a great day.